Pop quiz. Who was the first person whose title contained the phrase President of the United States? And if you guessed George Washington, well, you're wrong. Welcome to American Esoterica. If history class gives you the blooms of springtime, this is the month of sneezing and watery eyes. The essential stuff in between. The personalities, events, and other ephemera that shape our history and culture. I'm Brian Powers. So who was the first person whose title contained the phrase President of the United States? His name was Samuel Huntington. If that doesn't ring a bell, I'm not surprised. Let's start at the beginning. The first shots of the American Revolution were fired in 1775. The Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776. The Treaty of Paris, ending the war, was signed in 1783. And then, the Constitution just sprung into place in 1787 from the inerrant genius and fertile intellectual loins of the Founding Fathers. We forget that there was a period of time in the middle of all of that where we, had to have a government. And somewhere in the foggy recesses of your mind, the words Articles of Confederation might be swimming into view. Written in 1777 and ratified in 1781, the Articles of Confederation were our nation's first attempt at pulling itself together. And our friend Samuel Huntington was the first person to hold the title President of the United States in Congress assembled under this illustrious document. The reality is that he already held the title President of Congress when the Articles of Confederation took effect on March 1st, 1781, and so everybody just kind of went with it. So, does that make Samuel Huntington our first president? Well, no. The Articles of Confederation didn't provide for an executive branch, or a judicial branch, or much of anything else, really. The position of President of the United States in Congress assembled was named directly from Congress, sort of the same way Britain chooses a prime minister from within its legislative body, but with even less authority. So Samuel Huntington wasn't really the president, just a president. The first man to serve the full one-year term of the position was named John Hanson, who took over later in 1781. Our dear John Hanson would be the fourth person to hold, be named to, or otherwise serve as President of the United States in Congress assembled in 8 months. One person even declined to take the position after he was voted in. With that kind of stability and an ostensible position of authority, and not really much of that if we're being honest, it may start to be clear that the Articles of Confederation were not really gonna work out. And they didn't. The Constitution was ratified on March 4th, 1789, giving the Articles of Confederation an effective lifespan of exactly 8 years and 3 days. But here's a puzzler. Why don't we know about Mr. Huntington? Or John Hanson? Or Thomas McKean? Or any of the 10 men who served as President of the United States in Congress assembled? For one thing, it's probably important to note that it wasn't really a powerful position. It may be more akin to our Speaker of the House, and we don't really talk about many of those unless they were truly historically noteworthy. I think another reason, though, is that we don't really talk about the Articles of Confederation. We just sort of pass it by in hushed tones when we talk about American history. Revolutionary War, Declaration of Independence, Articles of Confederation, the Constitution, yay America! It's a key part of our history, and we managed to hang together as a nation somehow under it. Heck, John Hanson was the person who officially created Thanksgiving. we tend to talk of the Founding Fathers as a bunch of genius philosopher kings that created the world's best form of government on their first try, and it was perfect from the beginning. Never mind that even the Constitution had to have multiple amendments before it would gain widespread acceptance. We don't like to talk about how they failed right out of the gate, and that our first attempt at self-governance was clearly a disaster, a pathetic, disorganized mess that could have derailed the American experiment at the outset. So, if you want to be annoying and pedantic, the next time someone talks about the first president, tell them that you're gonna need some clarification. Then pour a little out for old forgotten Samuel Huntington, the first to hold the title containing the phrase, President of the United States. This has been American Esoterica. All sounds were made by me, Brian Powers. Did I get it wrong? Did I get it right? Just want to talk about effective hair care products? Drop me a note. The address is yell@americanesoterica.com. Thank you for listening, and God bless America.